Right, hello. We're looking at a big hole. So we've got a wheelbarrow and two large pots full of soil. You can see my soil is good to about 18 inches and it's pretty much pure sand after that. The hole is about 2.5 foot deep. It's hard to tell, obviously, watching on a video, depth perception. The reason why we've got a hole, and I have to say I'm quite excited, because we've got a bit of a deal, or a bargain if you like. Anyone who watched my videos know I do like getting some, well, let's just say I'm frugal. I try and get the best deals, get a lot of reduced plants. Obviously sometimes you can't, but anyway, so what we're looking at here is a Trachycarpus. I would like to say Fortunae, but I think it's a cross, which is not a bad thing. It is raining, so I'm holding an umbrella, so I haven't got a hand free, but I'll try and hold the umbrella in my phone hand. Might be a bit wobbly. So yeah, these fronds, you'll see a lot of Trachycarpus will fold over and look really messy, but these fronds actually are really stiff, so I'm guessing it is a waggy cross Fortunae. It's got a really thick stocky trunk. Also had to drag it in on a tarp, and we've got the root ball, which again you can see almost where it's been in a pot, but then it was planted in the ground afterwards. So we've got a really tight mass of roots here, which is a good nearly 2 foot deep, and we had masses of roots coming out about 5 or 6 foot along the surface of the ground, which obviously I had to chop. So we've got about 18 inches all the way round. So basically I saw a Facebook post saying free palm tree, whoever wants to dig it up, and luckily I was first to reply. I think we caught it within 8 minutes. I think they had hundreds of messages after that, but we got in straight away. Unfortunately, the time we got round there to dig it out, it was already starting to get dark by the time we got home, so couldn't get it in the ground straight away. But luckily it's been raining overnight, so it's nice and wet. The roots haven't dried out. I did wrap them up with the tarp. So this is probably bigger than the largest Trachycarpus I've got, so it's a bit of a decent find. They're quite expensive when they get to this size. We've got just over 5 foot of clear trunk. Obviously when you dig something out at this sort of size, you'll be looking to cut a lot of the fronds off, which I did. I cut, believe it or not, a good 15 fronds. So this had fronds all the way down the trunk. So let me just peel this back. So you can see that the very top growing point here, and the fronds were, all the way down to here. Obviously it had been trimmed back before that. It has been flowering. Also you can see the old flower pods there. So yeah, I think the important thing is, the first thing, if you want to transplant something sizable, is balance out the leaves to the root ratio. So obviously you could cut a lot of roots, you need to cut a lot of leaves to to stop transpiration. So sort of balance that out. It did take about an hour to dig out because I was quite careful with the roots and trying to get all the soil off, because obviously it weighed a ton. With you get a root ball like that with soil, and I'd have no chance of lifting it. So luckily I could just about lift this into the car. Luckily I had the wife with me to help me balance it. So we got it in the car with the frond sticking out the back. And yeah, so it's been sitting here overnight. We are, like I said, I've dug the hole, so I'm planning to get that in as soon as the rain eases off a little bit. So what am I going to do to the hole? Let's have a look. We've got some plants that were where the hole is now. It's the hot lips canna and some small, not sure what they are. They do flower, sort of ground cover plants. Right, so we've got a decent sized hole. It's going to cover the whole root system. The plan is I'm going to mix 50-50 with this soil I've dug out with some compost and backfill. Get a good layer at the bottom. Like I say, I've dug it deeper than the root system, so we can get a good layer at the bottom as well for it to go down as well as out. And I'll probably give it a good, even though it is raining, I'll give it a damn good watering with some seaweed solution in with the water, just to give it a little boost to get the roots going. Obviously not the most ideal time of year to be putting a palm tree in, but then again it's not the worst either. I mean, late spring or early autumn would be the best time. We're sort of late autumn now, second week of about halfway through November. So we have had a frost, but I think for the next week or so we've got fairly mild nights, sort of down to around 9 to 7 degrees. So that's not going to cause it too much problem. It's probably better cooler weather, so like I say, you don't lose too much water out with the leaves. So the leaves are so nice, I don't want to cut any more off. I've got very slight yellowing on the ends of that one, so obviously when it comes to transplant shock, obviously the plant is not going to enjoy being dug out and roots chopped, so we're going to not expect any action out of this next year. I think the good sign, as long as it doesn't start dying back, if it just sits dormant for a year, I'll be happy. It has got not that you can see it, but a couple of spears pushing out, so there'll be something to watch. Not that you get any growth out of them out winter anyway, you might get a little bit of pushing, but didn't expect full sort of strong growth. But yeah, so next spring, we'll keep an eye on the spears and see if they move or not. That'll be a good indication whether, or how much shock it's gone into, or whether it wants to start growing straight away or not. But like I say, even if it sits there for a year or two before it starts growing, I'm happy. It's already a good size, and you know, I've got no problem waiting for a couple of years before it start going again. Like I say, trunk 5 foot with the fronds, nearly another 4 foot, so we're looking at nearly 9 foot. And I'll look into we'll just talk a little bit about the positioning. So we did hum and hard. This obviously is a sort of a last minute rush thing. I had a couple of options. I nearly put it out the front of the garden, in the front garden, but in the end we had said the last couple of years, you know, that is a fairly open garden, and from when you're looking from the conservatory or the kitchen, you look out and the wife said it'd always be nice something to have something sort of big to break it up a bit, so you don't see it all at once. So hence this is why we've got it on the corner of the pond here. So when you're looking out from the house, that'll block your view a little bit to make it a bit more interesting, I guess. And yeah, that's sort of more or less in the middle of the garden, but not going to be obstructing the sort of narrower part where we walk through. So yeah, I think that should look okay there. And right, I've rambled on enough. The rain is starting to ease off a little bit, so I may look into dragging it across and getting it in position. I have got a fairly heavy duty stake to give it some support, because obviously the top growth compared to the bottom growth, you know, you get the winter winds and that could topple. So just as a closing thought, I said I thought this might be a cross. I mean, you get so much variation with Fortunais anyway, but I think it is a cross. But you know, it's a fairly, you know, it's a dark green on top, and it is a slightly whiter underneath, so that's not a bad thing. And Trachycarpus are normally smooth on the pedicels, where this has got a bit of toothing on it. Don't know if you can see that. Let's get a bit closer. I have got very fine teeth on it, so if there's anyone who got any ideas what it could be, or if it's a variation or a cross, let me know. Right, thanks for watching. Hopefully the next video that'll be in the ground and we'll see how it looks. Cheers.